Okay, now we are live here at the DPB studio. It's so good to be back. Ryan, I'm back in studio, right? You can hear me now. You can hear me now.
Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely. There's Ryan in the backdrop. We tried to launch already once, and unfortunately, that was a fail. But then again, coming back to studio, it's like anything else in life. You get away from something long enough, even though we had a very enjoyable time in the free state of Florida. And now we're back to the land of Lincoln. No, the land of make believe. And we're going to talk about the DNC, the Democrat National Convention, which is right now, right here, right now in the state of Illinois, up in the city of Chicago. Uh, that's going to be the crux of the show. You know, the DNC, the Den of Thieves, what is happening. Experiencing some technical difficulties to get live. It took us a couple minutes, had to rebrand ourselves on the entire rebooting of their computer system here in studio. My phone is vibrating, going crazy right now, which means that that person isn't listening and watching the DPB show. So we're going to ignore them because there's so much more to talk about today here at the DPB show. As I said, the land of Lincoln, it is a little cooler here in the land of Lincoln than it was in Florida. We were having some very unseasonable temperatures. They're in the high 60s, the low 70s, which is kind of nice. That's why I've got a long sleeve shirt on, which is different than being in Florida, where you have to seek refuge in the air condition after the blistering hot sun. Um, Let me gather myself here. As I said, there is so much to talk about, and where we begin, I've got to pull up some screens. I've told you before, folks, you're going to watch right before your very eyes. And I encourage you to tune in. I mean, I understand. I tuned in last night. My friend Scott Robbins out on social media, Markley Van Camp and Robbins. If you don't watch those guys, you got to catch them. They've got a podcast. They're live on radio in so many markets. But Robbins says he said it was 90 seconds and he had to shut it down. And Ryan's going to share a lot about that today on the show. He's pulled some clips. There he is, Ryan Mac Show.
Howdy, howdy.
Ryan, when I say the land of make believe, it's intentional. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it other than what do you call it? I mean,
Well, so the contrast between the 2 weeks that took place couldn't be more clear. You had the RNC in Milwaukee, and you had businesses shining and traffic of people coming through. You didn't have boarded up windows. You didn't have boarded up buildings. You didn't have business closing. The positive energy, the downflow, the security was great. You had it was a different feeling at the RNC. You had this excitement again about America, the USA, the patriotic theme, the unity that was built around it. The speakers were amazing. You had some that maybe some people didn't agree should have been there, but I thought it was entertaining. And then you contrast with the day one of the DNC. There was maybe 500 people sitting in when the DNC chair opened up and spoke about the rules. You had kind of people just standing around echoing as they were speaking. It wasn't a packed house. And then you had some of the speakers. They got really, really negative with, the apology statement they had about apologizing why we're a country and our history. It was just a really weird open. And then, of course, you waited and waited and waited and waited and waited until Joe Biden got out of his bed to speak. And that was also another train wreck of angry Joe at late night so that they wouldn't be able to see a large crowd watching. It was just a weird open when you have the contrast of 2 weeks.
well, you know what? I'm glad that, and it's good to hear your perspective on it because we kind of were anticipating when we left the show last Thursday that the DNC was going to kick off, and we're already seeing the manifestation. JB's out there like so many. When I say the land of make believe, hey, Bob, that's Berwin Bob Kelsey joining us. Thanks, Bob. It's good to see you here in studio rather than live in Florida. But we knew something was going to happen. JB kicking things off. It's in his home state. Yes, JB Pritzker lockstep with the rest of the den of thieves, because that's what this is all about, promoting his home state and the city of Chicago. They've already had a breach up there on the perimeter surrounding the United Center. They're in believe me, whoever coordinated and put together the entire map of how day one was going to work out, as you said, Ryan, what a debacle. But it doesn't matter, because that's what they do. These folks, it doesn't matter how much they fail, because they don't look at it as failure. They just keep moving forward.
Yep.
And that's what you're going to see in day two today. Day two, they're going to roll it out. Can they recover from the disaster of day one, where people are up there? I'm wanting to grab the video of the little gal who got up there and was basically saying that when Trump is president, which she's already conceding that Trump's going to be president, that he's going to be a dictator and he's going to weaponize the federal government against the people. It was like, what? Somebody said it best on, I think, one of the comments I read. Put a mirror up. This is what you guys have been doing. So the gaslighting, the when I say land of make believe, I believe that in my heart that these people, they know it's a shtick. You know, there's nobody in their right mind that can listen to Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or any of these cast of characters who try to make believe that the economy's never been better, that Donald Trump is doom and gloom and the man who is not joyful, because that's what she's running on, joy. That is, the people believe that. You know, I've got a little meme graphic that I hope to be able to grab here, that the coverage from the three major networks is 84% favorable to Kamala Harris,
Shocker.
89% unfavorable to Donald Trump. And yet you have people who are in unison with them. They're locked at the hip. They are so, when we talk, they believe that the mega movement, that we're the ones who are in a cult. What do you call the people that get behind people who lie, blatantly lie, and they keep lying? Well, if you believe and support a liar, that makes you a liar. I know that sounds harsh, and I know I've said that before, but we have plenty of people that have befriended us through social media that are stricken by the disease of the Trump derangement syndrome and this malady that impacts them psychologically, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally. And I don't know, I don't know how they're ever going to come out of it. I know that I was listening to Bongino today, and, Bongino said a couple things, pointed out a couple great points. One is the violence is going to start with them. They're already talking about violence. They're already talking about not certifying the election. And that's every aspect, because they know they don't have a candidate. Kamala Harris was a bailout candidate for the sake of trying to maintain momentum in gathering campaign finance for down ballot candidates, because their hope at this point, I'm not going to say anything's a shoo-in, because these folks are capable of doing anything. Joe Biden received 180, according to Joe Biden, or according to the electorate, the last time around, Joe Biden received 81 million votes. Impossible. Didn't happen. They never talk about it. They don't do the math on it, which, if no, let me give you another example, because I feel like I'm kind of rambling here and I want to get some stuff pulled up. And I know you've got some stuff to share, Ryan.
Yeah.
My dear friend, and he is, Tom DeVore, constantly says that you can't show me where the cheating is in Illinois. Tom, if I could show you where the cheating was, that would make them very poor, lousy cheaters. I can't show you the wind, but I can see the effects of the wind.
Yeah.
I want to lay that on my friend Tom sometime. I can't necessarily walk you around and show you how they were able to, over the course of 4 years in Illinois, get 800,000 more votes on their side. And we already know statistically where things are at. We've shared that the last 2 shows.
Yep.
40 out of every 100 people that is eligible to vote in Illinois actually votes. 23 out of the 100 for the Democrats, 17 for the Republicans. But
Yep.
even with all of that, the lack of voter turnout, they still manufactured 800,000 more votes
Mm-hmm.
in the 2018 election
Yeah.
than the Republicans. They were able to get 400,000, roughly 400,000 more votes in the 2022 gubernatorial election. So my point is, we had reports and we had people phoning into us because we were manning the war room with election integrity here in Illinois, the same state that's hosting the corrupt DNC, the Den of Thieves, who are getting a little bit of the taste of what it's like to put yourself behind a perimeter fence as it's being breached by an angry mob. And no, they're not. They must be insurrectionists because they're breaking down things and trying
Yep.
to get into the insurrection in
Yeah.
Chicago.
They really do eat their own at some point.
Well, and I guess that's in a nutshell of what I'm trying to say is that, and I want to get to some of these clips, is that what we're seeing before our very eyes and what others are seeing, the perceptions, I just alluded to the people on our social media pages who will walk, in unison with these people, no matter what. You can't tell them, you can't show up a graphic and say Kamala Harris gets 84% favorability on the 3 major networks. Donald Trump gets 89% unfavorable coverage.
Yep.
Because to them, they'll say, no. They're just repeating what everybody says. Donald's not really getting unfavorable coverage. He's just unfavorable.
Yeah.
But yet,
Yeah.
as I walk this thing back, if he's so unfavorable and received roughly 74 million votes, which was almost 11 million more votes than he received in 2016 when he won the election, the most votes would have been Donald Trump in any presidential election. And they turned out to be Joe Biden. And yet, that's another part of this. How will the Den of Thieves, the DNC, the Den of Thieves, run away from the fact that there has only been, well, I know how they're going to run away. It's the same thing I hear about J.B. Pritzker and Mike Madigan. It was the Republicans. It was Bruce Rauner that put Illinois in the condition they're in. I'm like, are you kidding me? Michael Madigan controlled the House speakership in Illinois for 37 years, meaning he basically had the checkbook of spending money in the state of Illinois. And how were the Republicans responsible for the guy that ran the Madigan rules, the Madigan way? Well, we're seeing the contrast of that once again, because that's what these people do. And when I say, well, that's what these people do, I'm talking about the Dems and the Dem followers. They try to convince you that you're not seeing things correctly. That look over here, this has been all perpetrated by these evil people, the Republicans. They're the ones who did this to you. All the while, you have control of the White House. You have control of the Senate. You lost in a midterm, a narrow margin in the House. So when will they turn their tide or turn their sails and try to catch some wind by saying, you know what? We have been working on these things and they haven't come to full fruition, but we believe these things are going to eventually work, which we know they won't, because there's not a foundation of good, sound economic principles to build anything that they've been doing.
Yeah, they're stealing from Trump's policies or they're blatantly hiding what they stand for. They cover it. So this is how communism or socialism works. They cover it with, oh, we're going to give you more freedom. Donald Trump's trying to take away your freedom. And then they go and hammer down gun control, price controls. They're going to give out $25,000 to first time home buyers. Who knows how that's going to be paid for? So it's this feel good message, and then they turn around and rip everything from you economically. They have no idea what they're getting the country into on their policies. They have no real platform because they can't admit to it. They're just going to do it. That's what they're going to do.
Well, here's what they can't do. Here's what, and Kamala finally answered a question for the first time. Here is Trump being asked a direct question, and I'm going to have to put this on rewind here real quick
Mhm.
in order to pull it up. But here is Trump where he's actually hitting on all cylinders, and this is classic Trump. He's just waving goodbye. I think that I thought I grabbed the right clip, but hold on, let me see if this won't play because he gets a laugh and it's more of a soundbite. Let me see if I can actually load. Oh, oh man, here we go. Here it is. Trump wraps up the remarks. We'll play. This is this isn't the one I think I want to play, but we'll hit upon it here. I don't know if you can hear that. I probably should grab it.
Who was here in 2021?
Oh, here
Thank you.
let me play that again for you guys. Coming to a town where there's white supremacists.
Yeah.
Who was here in 2021? Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. And they said Donald Trump doesn't laugh.
It was the mic drop because they were trying to trap him into, you're coming to a town where there's white supremacists or white supremacy and the gatherings and everything else. And all he says is, wait a minute, who was here in 2021? This is how you defeat this. And I'm hoping to be able to grab the video when JD Vance is asked about Kamala Harris bringing us out of inflation, basically leading to inflationary reform. Did you
Yeah.
see this one where he
I have
said
not seen it yet, but I'm
putting
sure it's gonna be a good
putting
one.
Kamala Harris in charge of inflation reform is like putting Jeffrey Epstein in charge of human trafficking?
Yeah.
And the bottom line is this is how you hit back, and you hit back hard with these people, because if not, they just will they will continue to perpetuate and run with whatever they can.
Yeah.
And a prime example of that is this video here from the DNC, and I want to share that with you. um, you want to talk about gushing over the candidate Kamala Harris. This is when we talk about 84% favorability. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about situations like this where they basically just serve up T-balls, and here's an example of that. Hold on for a second. I thought I had the video, but up. Let me get back here. Some reason she's not playing. Hold on, bear with me. I got more videos. Here we go. For some reason, this video is not playing itself out. Let's see if I can load it up through. Here we go. This might do it. Surge in floor polling.
What video are you trying to pull?
Is it playing?
No.
Oh,
Is it playing for you?
I had to come.
oh, I thought it was
to the
playing. I
cake
can hear
because
it.
My wife wanted
It's
it,
not
and I
playing
wouldn't
for
have been
you?
able to sleep all night.
Now it is. I have to rewind it.
Traditional German
All right,
chocolate
let me
cake,
go
but
back.
the whipped cream has caramel and chocolate.
This is the
Laura Brown
Kamala
Lopez
cake
is here
thing.
on the convention
Yes.
floor. She's been reporting on Harris's surge in polling. Laura?
Amna and Jeff, from business owners to college students, Democrats have a new sense of hope around Vice President Harris's nomination. And I've been speaking to voters here in Chicago to see if Harris can maintain that energy from now until November.
If he can make more of these, because people are coming.
At the Brown Sugar Bakery on Chicago's South Side, a new item has generated a lot of excitement. 68-year-old Robert Hawkins Jr. showed up an hour before the bakery even opened to make sure he got a taste of what's called the Kamala cake.
I had
Kamala
to
cake.
come and get this particular cake because my wife wanted it, and I wouldn't have been able to sleep all night.
So on the inside, it's a traditional German chocolate cake, but the whipped
I thought
cream
she's
has
Indian. Why do they have
caramel
German
and
chocolate?
chocolate in it.
62-year-old Stephanie Hart is the owner of the bakery.
How did you feel about this election before she jumped into the race, when it was a rematch between Donald Trump and Joe Biden?
Scared, nervous, worried.
Have the vibes changed in your neighborhood, in your community, since the race has changed?
Absolutely. People are talking, people are engaged, people are hopeful, people are getting involved.
Hart created the Kamala cake based on what Vice President Harris ordered when she paid a visit to the bakery in 2021.
And I'm so excited that we have a woman, that we have a Black woman, but that we have somebody that can actually get into a ring and shut them the hell up.
Why does that matter?
The promise of America. And are we ready to fight for it?
For Democrats, that excitement is now being felt across the country. Enthusiasm for Harris among Democratic voters has climbed dramatically.
What?
And right
Finally
there,
have a black woman running for office,
And
then
right
they can
there.
shut them the hell up.
PBS's Laura Barron Lopez eats up Kamala cake, the DNC's palatable excitement. I was looking for that meme, and there it is right here. This must read over here to the right. I don't know if I click on it, if it puts it up. Basically, it gives statistically the coverage. This is at MRC Newsbusters. They do such a great job, but this is the advantage that we're facing, or disadvantage. Literally, Kamala, oh, cat's up there. Kamala pays more visits to wineries than bakeries, clearly. Yes. You're funny, Ryan. German chocolate from Bob. From
Yeah.
Irwin. And this is but this is what we're facing here in the land of the DNC, also the land of make believe, formerly the land of Lincoln, this once great state that held values, conservative values throughout the state, even in a town like Chicago, under control of Democrat mayors, still had a sense of conservative values, of getting the work done, of being a town where, the working class mattered. Unfortunately, the working class is no longer the Democrat Party is not the party of the working class. The Republican Party is. The Republican Party is the party of the working class.
Yeah, they've changed over the years a little bit, depending on, blowing through the wind. But they are, the ideals of the Democrat Party are big business, big tech, big government. And the Republican Party has become the party of normal, everyday working Americans. And while they still have a split on the MAGA versus, Romney crowd and McConnell party, there's a split there, but it is a changing of the guard as far as who's in charge. We want less government. So speaking of excitement, we
hold on for that, because you see conservative cats comment.
Yeah.
The media PBS needs to post on how she orders wine under a fake name.
Yeah.
That scream alcoholic.
I wonder what name would you be if you had to order alcohol? Think about
Yeah.
that. I'll come back to
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah.
speaking of excitement, we had Kamala Cake. So this is none other than MSNBC's. Who is that? It's not
Nicole Wallace.
Nicole Wallace. Yeah. So she used to be Republican, right?
Vocal
And now
fry
she's this.
Nicole. Yep.
Yeah. So this is a blowhard Democrat, and she just can't contain her excitement.
Way, my dear friend Joy Reid is there, and she joins us. Tell me everything.
Oh, Joy Reid and Nicole
I'll tell you
Wallace.
everything. I'm going to sum up what I have
joy.
felt since we landed,
Uplifting.
Nicole, in this wonderful, beautiful city. Exuberance, joy. I have not, and we were just talking about this a little while ago, I have not seen so many Democrats laugh, smile, sing. I mean, there is a song in the air. I don't know if you can hear me behind me, but there's like a little bit of music playing. People are literally dancing to the tunes in their own head. I think Democrats today,
That's called mental illness.
they feel a kind of joy and a kind of relief that I personally have not seen in like 8 years? You know, it's been a constant slog. And as much as people, I think, adore Joe Biden,
How about
they
the
love
last
him. He is
3.5 years?
beloved in this party. And people were prepared to fight like junkyard dogs to get him over the finish line. There's a sense that it'll be a fight, but it'll be a joyous fight now. It won't be a slog.
So what she's saying, and I think I get it, is that it wasn't that great under Joe Biden, even though they lied to us for 3.5 years and said he was the most consequential president. Is that what Joy Reid was saying? It's more of a happy fight now versus oh God, we got to get Joe over this now.
Well, and you know, I think that the key to realize is, Ryan, is there's a day of reckoning. There's a day of accountability. The DNC, the Den of Thieves, which first and foremost, we said it here on the DPB show, they had to get off the launch pad with Kamala, which was,
yeah,
I don't know how you reinvent a candidate midstream. They had to run away from 3.5 years of proven record. She's been the vice president for 3.5 years, but they also run away from what I would believe is one of the bigger issues. My wife is texting me. Yes, please. She's wondering if she could put that up in the comments too, because I don't know where to pull that Joy Reid article at that you sent me, but this little bitty is 6 weeks in to running for Facebook Messenger. I don't know if I can pull that up, see how that is. Let me add this to stage, because this is 6 weeks into his presidency. And this is what Kamala is going to get lambasted. I don't know if you heard before we went on air, Kamala has made a decision not to take part in the September 4th debate. So now she found
Fox News debate. Yeah,
I don't know how they're going to run away from the only one debate they have. But here's Joe, 16 seconds. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
I want to thank you. Thank you. And I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance, whatever you want me to do.
Wow. Whatever you want me to do, Nance.
Thank you. And I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance, whatever you want me to do.
Yeah, so I can share one right after that, because here's what Nancy said.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
I'll put it up there. So this is Nancy's reaction when she was at the DNC, telling Jake Tapper she did what she had to do.
You know what?
Have you talked
I
to him?
have
Is
to
my
do
only
what I have to do.
right.
He made the decision for the country.
Yeah.
My concern was not about the president; it was about his campaign. You know what?
Yeah, her concern was the not about the presidency; it was about the campaign. She was more worried about winning than keeping him in office at that point.
Well,
running for another election,
and that's why That's what I'm saying. How are they going to over the next and I'm excited, as limited amount of time I'm going to spend watching the DNC, the Den of Thieves, the Democratic National Convention. We're going to hunt and peck because it's not going to be like the RNC when I was fully steeped inside listening to the speakers. But how are they going to run away from the fact that that was 6 weeks into Joe Biden's presidency, and he was already unable to sit in front of it was first of all, it wasn't the actual White House, it was a makeshift White House.
Yeah.
They had to orchestrate everything. These people are the masters, which is the master of political theater, and they do it better than anybody else, which brings up a good point. And I want to make sure I hit this upon before we get off the show today is, folks, they have become masters of deception, of lying, of cheating and stealing.
Yep.
We, meaning Christian conservative Republicans in that order, Christian conservative Republicans have to become masters of exposing them. As I just said, and I can't, I wish I would have been able to do a little better job at show prep today. I want to get that video. Maybe you can pull it up, Ryan.
Yep.
JD Vance basically just land blasting them. Trump, perfect example when he's asked about white supremacy, because Joe's coming out last night in his worst slotted positioning of the president of the United States. This is the man who, whether we agree that he's the president or not, I like to refer to him as the resident, or not even vice president. But this is the man who is the leader of the free world. And his party puts him in the 11 o'clock spot, the morning slot. I mean, early morning, after midnight, Joe Biden. And all he does is get up there and spouts out lie after lie, things that have been proven to be false, but he won't let them go. That Trump said, that there are very fine people on both sides. And of course, it's a cut from a edited cut, jump cut from a speech where he goes on to condemn white supremacists and white supremacy and people who are of that ilk. He also says that he called them losers at an event for veterans, that these at D-Day, that these guys were a bunch of losers. And but he keeps repeating the same thing over and over, and they know that these are hoax. But this is the position that he got in the DNC lineup for this week. The president of the United States, our current active president, which bodes a whole host of other questions, which hopefully these are the things they're going to be talking about and turning their strategy towards in the Trump campaign, is saying, wait a second, folks, what are they talking about? Day one, as JB Vance said, happened 1,300 days ago.
Yeah.
That was day one. And Joe Biden is still in the White House. The one that is hooked at the hip with you're the vice president. You are still in charge of all of these things. Anything. Countries have been overthrown in less than 5 months. Countries have been invaded and totally destroyed in less than 5 months. And this is truly what I believe is their plan of attack. As Bongino said today, if you caught Bongino, I'm going to repeat what he said. They're already in the mindset that they're losing this election. They are strategizing, and we need to wake up. We need to know. My wife has said it over and over there, and over and over again. I can't imagine what it's going to look like on November 6th after Trump wins. I'm not overconfident, because they're capable of anything prior to November 6th and leading up to November 5th. But if and when Trump wins, and I believe it's when, they are going to go back to the streets. You think they were unloading bricks before? You think that they were burning down buildings? You think that they were causing mass civil disobedience in the streets? Of course, it's was mostly bunch of peaceful protesters.
Yeah, mostly peaceful, burning buildings. It's fine.
Yeah, but you think that back in 2016 after the victory of Trump, this is going to pale. These folks are truly in a land so far removed from America. In fact, I don't even know what that land is. Well, yes, I do, because I've said it enough over and over and over again. It's the land of make-believe. They have truly made this all up in their heads. J.B. Pritzker stands at a podium and he speaks as if these things are all true, and he knows they're not. I mean, bottom line is JB's not going to miss a meal ever.
No.
And
communists tend to don't. They don't usually miss meals. We do.
Yes. I mean, they're not. Yeah. It's the essence of being prepared. And this is something I think we need to be very cognizant of. They're making preparations today, especially in light of last night and yesterday. They knew that they were behind the 8 ball coming out of the RNC. People were referring to it as electrifying, uplifting, amazing. We already know that the media is going to spin it once again. Statistically, 84% favorable for Kamala, who hasn't ever won a primary or a vote to be president, to 89% unfavorable reporting about Trump. They are laying the foundation, laying the groundwork. They need the money. They definitely need the money. They've got to tell us poll after poll after poll. This poll says this poll says that. They know that the American people aren't behind them, that the American people are in unison with us. Conservative cat Gwen Walsh will sit by her windowsill and sniff the burning rubber.
Gross. Well, that's better than sniffing kids, I guess.
I'm just trying to figure out. It's good to have Kat in the comment section. She has full access to the DPB show anytime she wants. It'd be great if she just would jump on and give us some insight.
The cat's meow. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna have a segment. Cat's meow.
The cat's meow. No, I still like Cornered by Kat. She does the best job. You should see it when she gets these politicians, because Kat has this uncanny ability to just be so abrupt, so friendly, and smiling at the same time, so energetic. Not this fake energy like old Joy Reid. Joy. Needless to say, Kat, you're right. This is a den of thieves, and these folks are on. I mean, Ryan, I can't remember it, but then again, we didn't grow up with the ability of the internet and technology and mass media as it exists today, because as much as we talk about the unfavorability, the reporting, sorry, I knocked my camera off again because I got my elbow over there in the wrong place. But at least there's a nice little me pictured in there. Let me start the cam again.
There you go.
And then we got to go through this exercise in starting the cam, making sure we're plugged in. Hold on.
Well, I think you were going down the same path, but I have never seen the overall polarization of the messaging. And I talked to my former history teacher. He's teaching science now. He's a couple years away from retiring. But I had him for U.S. history in 8th grade when 9/11 happened. So we were talking the other day, and he said that, you can't have a discussion anymore with somebody that disagrees with you without one of you hating the other side. Well, it's become,
and there is that you're right. I was kind of leading towards that, Ryan.
Yeah, but everyday Americans having conversations.
But the thing is we don't rely upon mainstream media anymore. Very few people do.
Oh yeah,
now,
the day and age of X and Rumble.
Who is feeding from the trough of mainstream media is the the lemmings, the followers of the DNC.
Yep.
Those folks tune into mainstream media sources where you and I'm looking at my little ticker up above here of all the different sources, and you've heard me talk about it, whether it's RNC Research, MRC, Media Busters, whether it's the War Room, whether it's Dan Bongino, whether it's Tucker Carlson, whether it's Mike Benz, whether it's Sean Davis, whether it's Mike Davis, whether it's I was going to call him Benny Hill. That's not even a good joke. Benny Hill. That's an old comedy show.
Johnson.
Benny Johnson, Benny Hill, Benny Johnson, Benny Johnson would get a kick out of that. But the list is on and on and on. I can understand why the DNC. I mean, think about this. Just going back to a month, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, every one of those people that was running in the primary got on stage, Ron DeSantis, and gave a raving report about the strength of where we're at. Vivek Ramaswamy just knocks it out of the park. I mean, that guy is so talented, so gifted. I mean, such an orator. I mean, could you imagine debating that guy? In fact, they don't want to debate him because he was on the debate stage. Trump wasn't part of the debate because once again, as Trumpian can be, chose not to participate. Why? Because he was leading by 50, 60 points, which was ridiculous because there was still some hope. I'll be honest, I quite literally have a hard time associating with anyone left of Alex Jones anymore.
Yeah.
If you ain't got Alex Jones energy, then lose my number.
I just don't drink the water with fluoride and it'll turn your frogs gay. But it's, and what's that tell you about Rumble not being allowed to stream the DNC? For other people to see the DNC who might be persuaded either way, you have a large platform that can stream the whole convention. RSBN, I watched it. I watched clips of you in the crowd. RSBN was there at the RNC. MSNBC was there. CNN was covering it, but they won't let Rumble stream the DNC. What does that tell you about the Democrat Party? They want only their media coverage of it. And even then, Fox News is going to cover it too, but they'll cut away. But where does that leave you, the Democrat Party, that they don't want open platforms showing you the message that they're giving out?
Well, I think part of that is
it's not free speech.
It's not free speech. And when we talk about free speech, we have to bring up people like Andy Beshear. My wife was asking as we went through the state of Kentucky the other day about Andy Beshear because it gives him a little shout out on the end. Welcome to Kentucky. And here is Andy. And here's where he takes a shot at
convenience.
Hold on.
I mean, what's
horrible
have had to go through because of these laws. I mean, JD Vance calls pregnancy resulting from rape inconvenient. Like inconvenience is traffic. I mean, make him go through this. I mean, think about what some people have had to go through because of these laws.
What are you asking here?
JD Vance calls pregnancy resulting from rape inconvenient. Like inconvenience is traffic. I mean, make him go through this. I mean, think about what.
He's openly.
Do you understand what he is actually promoting there?
He's promoting JD's family members to get raped. That's cool. That's weird.
You are the governor of a state. I don't have time to dig it out of the archives here. Because CNN, Cat, just jump on. Because CNN can cut away when Jamie Raskin freezes after teleprompter glitches. Actually, it's kind of cool to have Cat in the commentary section. Conservative Cat over there. It's so awesome to have her here. But Andy Beshear, no different than J.B. Pritzker, as a governor of a state, calling a presidential nominee a rapist. When, they always get down on Trump for calling names.
Yeah.
I haven't heard Trump come out and say anything derogatory to that extent. Does he?
Yeah.
He does obviously take pot shots at you for your policy
Yeah.
and in your inability to back up your arguments other than to hide in the basement and behind your
Communist Kamala, that's what she is.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
said it.
He doesn't call Kamala something
No,
derogatory like
yeah, it's not
which
insulting. He
I'm
calls her a
no.
liar, calls you a communist, socialist, burnt.
Yeah.
They aren't insulting names. They're nicknames based on who they are as a character. These are
Yeah.
devious people. Jimmy Raskin's up there joking about somebody trying to kill Trump in one of his speeches yesterday. A joke that didn't go very well. I don't understand the level of play that they're at, but this is who we're dealing with. That's not my joke, by the way. That's Alex Jones's bit. Go look it up. Don't
Bob
drink the
Irwin
water
Bob.
with fluoride. It'll turn the frogs gay.
Yeah. Irwin Bob.
But it really is a message of policy versus personal. And the Democrats always go personal insults and try to make it personal. And the Republicans, what they need to do is attack people's policies. Because when it gets down to it, it doesn't matter what the accusations against the Republican leaders are. These are downright communists. They want to take your wallet and give it to somebody else who hasn't earned it. They want to crush your economy. They want to fundamentally transform this country into Venezuela overnight.
Well, and here's and I think this might do a little better job. I haven't had a chance to look at this. It's 23 seconds, but I want to go ahead and play it, put it on stage. This is a gentleman, Quentin Folks or whatever his name is, explaining about putting Joe Biden on the late night portion of the show. Hold on, here
it
we go.
wasn't a mistake.
Wound up taking the stage at 11:30. By our count, about 45 minutes later than he was supposed to. Was that a mistake? What happened?
Oh, yeah, I don't think it was a mistake. Look, I think that the team here on the ground in Chicago has worked tirelessly to put this convention together for us. It was night one. I think anytime you're bringing an event like this and building something with this many people, there are bound to be some things that go a little awry.
President Biden wound up taking the stage at 11:30.
So it wasn't a mistake.
They can't even be truthful about, and this is the thing, and I hope that Americans can continue to see through this facade, this fake, everything's so fake. I mean, I call it political theater. They're not even good at it. But who believes the political theater? Well, unfortunately, I enjoy theater, Ryan. I know you probably enjoy
it
theater
really well. Yeah.
I enjoy movies. Ryan and DPB, I'm going to save you a spot in the bread line.
Yeah, no Chinese fire drill cuts. Yeah,
But
save us. Bernie calls them a good thing. I'm just going to throw that out there. Bread lines are a good thing. If you got people lining up for food, that's a good thing. No, it's not. Work for your own food. That's what this country is built on.
Cat keeps it light and keeps it going. But Ryan, the thing is what I started to say about the positioning of Joe, knowing about the ability to try to be political theater. You're someone who appreciates the arts. I appreciate the arts. These folks, it's more than an appreciation. They live in the land of make-believe.
Yeah.
Meaning they literally believe in the land of make-believe.
Yeah. Why else would you have a polished old turd speaking at 11 o'clock at night when you know he's either going to A, bumble his way through the speech, or C, come up with a dementia, anger-ridden speech and then lie? Where else would you have that? About 11 o'clock at night when everybody's in bed. They're like, I'm not watching this.
Before we jump off here at the end of the show, I know you've got it ready and loaded up. You've got Joe at his finest in not the finest hour, but here is what they rolled out on day one of their convention.
So there's a little bit of this 5-minute speech as part of his speech, about 5 minutes worth. And I'll play a little bit of that, and then I'll go into the cuts where he tried to say the Charlottesville thing again. He went on that. But here's a little bit of the taste of what he got into. I don't know how long his speech actually was, but This was
it didn't matter how long it was because
Yeah.
it
So this was Kyle Becker. He shared clips of it talking about what he was ranting on. So I'm going to see if I can play this part of it.
Nearly 4 years ago,
And I won't
In
play all of
Windsor,
it, but just listen to a little
on the
bit.
steps of the Capitol on a cold January day, I raised my right hand and I swore an oath to you and to God to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and to faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States. In front of me
President of the United States.
was the city surrounded by the National Guard. Behind me, a Capitol.
He's yelling.
Just 2 weeks before,
The echo.
had been overrun by a violent mob. But I knew then, from the bottom of my heart, that I knew now.
There's nobody there listening to him.
There's no place
Is
for political
is
violence.
there any red, white, and blue on this stage at the DNC?
They have no USA flags anywhere in the crowd.
You cannot say you love your country only when you win.
So angry.
In that moment, I wasn't looking to the past. I was looking to the future. I spoke of the work at hand, the moment we had to meet. It was, as I told you then, a winter of peril and possibility. Of peril
That's too
and
different.
possibility.
That's a
We're in the
contrast.
grip
Facts and truth.
of a once-in-a-century pandemic, historic joblessness, a call for racial justice long overdue, clear and present threats
Present
to our
danger.
very democracy.
Oh, clear and
Yep.
present danger. Me.
Thank you.
We love Joe. Okay, so it's a snippet of what his angry filled speech was, but he did make a discernment again that was false, and even Snopes came out with this. So he says that later on in the 5-minute clip, it was talking about Charlottesville, where Trump said, they were very fine people both sides. So here is this short clip of him saying this, and I'm going to play Trump's actual version of what he said. He condemned them over and over again. So here's Joe angrily calling him out again.
The president was asked what he thought had happened. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "There are very fine people on both sides. My God." That's
My
what he said.
God.
My God, that's horrible. Except that's not what happened. That's not what he said. And then let's see if I can get back into it. And then there's Trump's
there.
actual what he said. This was back in Trump's presidency, and this is what he said.
And you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
There it
You
is.
had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And you had some very
There you go. So again and again and again, Joe can't stop lying about that.
Well, but in the essence of why, because my wife has pointed to this many times, and I refer to my wife. I know she's listening right now. Does it really matter? And who are they speaking to? They're actually speaking to the same group of people who have never heard. Bongino got a little feisty today with his audience because in the chat, they were saying that nothing's ever going to happen to these people. What I just said about 10 minutes ago is so important. They have mastered being deceitful, deceptive, lying, cheating, stealing. We have to become masters at exposing it. Yes, there's a reason why the House came out and ordered articles of impeachment against Biden because of this $27 million that his family has enriched itself with since 2014. Whether they go to jail or not, we've got to expose these people prior to early voting starting. We have to be, and that's where I kind of was going with the technology thing. We have the ability to share messages like the DPB show, like Dan Bongino, like Tucker Carlson. I started pounding the table and my camera started bouncing. I probably shouldn't hit the table. Keep your hands off the table. No pounding the table. I'm starting to do my Joe Biden impression of getting angry. But we have the ability to reach out to people. No, we're there for the third party. We're there for the people who are the unreliable voters, the people that are finally, one day they're waking up and going, wait a minute, I've read this thing. Even the mainstream media, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Compost has debunked this whole lie about verifying people and all these other things. Even the mainstream media in some of those journalistic sources are starting to realize, okay, I don't think we have a chance to do a replay of 2016 because when Trump enters back into the White House, he's going to live up to some of his promises.
Yep.
He is going to set right the laws of the land. And that's what we need. We need to get back to the Constitution. We need to get back to the laws that govern who we are as the United States of America, a constitutional republic. These folks have no desire other than power, other than ruling people, other than destroying people's lives. Think about this. And I thought about this on my way into studio. J.B. Pritzker talks a game about holding our state open to all women for healthcare reasons. But he never talks about the mental health of a woman who makes that decision to end the life within her womb. You know, having Andy Bashir talk about rape, because that's where they have to go, because it's the lowest denominator, right? They can never talk about all of the lives that have been ended sheerly for the sake of it's just not convenient. It's just not the right time. It just wasn't the right guy. And all of those things, my heart goes out. You know, I see it on the streets. My wife has seen it over and over again in the public school system. Yeah, there are a lot of people out there that were probably unwanted. And I'm just very grateful and thankful for people who, in their darkest times, made a decision not to abort a baby. I know my friend Stephanie Trussell's mom was in that position. And then the list goes on and on and
Democrats
on.
have become the party of dehumanization, the party of eugenics, the party of forced sterilization. They're rolling out a mobile RV up there in Chicago, the DNC, for free vasectomies and free abortions.
I just heard about
there was
that,
a
Ryan.
leak. Yeah, there was a leaked photo.
Let me jump on this.
Yeah, do it.
And then I'm going to let you take the rest of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't made aware of this until yesterday when my wife and Kat were on the phone and they were talking about it. Speak into that, because I'm just blown away that they actually have. And Kat said they have booked,
fully booked.
But speak. I mean, I had not heard that. I mean, I don't know how many of the audience had heard this, that they had a mobile clinic for not only abortions, but for vasectomies. Oh, your audio went off. What happened? Ryan?
You muted me. There you go.
I muted you?
I don't know. I didn't touch it. Maybe I did touch it.
I probably did, because I was trying to enlarge you and I must have muted. There you go.
Now trying to shut me down.
You got the mic. Go ahead.
All right. So Fox News had an article, and I think I got it on my phone. But Planned Parenthood unveiled a mobile, basically RV, free vasectomies and abortions at the DNC. So you can walk up in the RV, get a vasectomy, and within an hour of getting it done, you can go enjoy yourself at the DNC with some rap music, and rejoice that you just won.
And be joyful. and be joyful that you just
stopped life.
terminate.
But look, I had one
The
because I was
vasectomy
done
piece,
having
though.
kids, but that's different than walk up abortion clinic at the
Well,
DNC.
Well, and I also was trying to not make light of this, but based on, as we just spoke about, the many people that are reproducing other humans, and I'm fully into that because I believe God's grace. God doesn't make mistakes. Every human is a person of worth and dignity, no matter how you believe, no matter what you believe.
But Democrats
Because,
don't think that.
well,
The whole idea was
and-
eugenics was started by Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger. She wanted to rid the entire planet or the country of the black race because there was too many idiots of a race or too many idiots in general. They forced sterilized people who are mentally ill.
And to this day, obviously, the overwhelming, I mean,
Yeah.
you based on population where the African American or the black community makes up about, depending on whose statistics you look at, 12 to 15% of the population, but yet they encompass about 37 to 39% of the abortions.
Yeah. Where are the clinics mostly put? In lower income areas of the communities that they're in.
Yeah. And so I will say this, I don't believe in forced sterilization, but you know what? When they get you into the monopoly game of getting sterilized, of
Mhm.
having abortions, they have set the table, as we said. You might think that they're doing something that's altruistic, that
Yeah,
they're
it's for the
helping you.
greater good.
It's for the greater
Stop
good.
reproducing for the greater good. We can't have any more conservatives being birthed.
That's right. But yet we want to open our borders and
Yeah.
allow
Yeah.
anybody and everyone, not to say there aren't really fine people coming across the border, because I believe there are. There
Sure.
are people who, if given the opportunity to seek the
Yeah.
constitutional
Give us your
American dream.
needy whatever. I'm a
That's right.
giving person, but
Yep.
there is a limit on a
That's right.
country's giving capacity. There has
Coming
to.
in legally, which is the argument against the abortion vasectomy thing, is that why
Yeah.
are we not closing the border? We don't have a problem with population as long as
Yeah.
it's coming in the country legally.
Right.
Wow. And folks, the DNC is going to go into day 2 tonight. Definitely, if you can bear it, turn it on, capture some of these clips. If not, go out to X right now. X has the monopoly, I believe,
Mhm.
besides Rumble. Little tough to find all of this information on Rumble, but if you go out to X, you're going to find most of those videos now are
Yep.
being posted by Rumble. Rumble is the source, the parallel economy, which is so important, which is the message I'm trying to make sure that you guys leave with. We have to be the people, the agents, the activists, the mobilizers, the fortifiers of getting people out to the polls. And how we do that is we present to them a new light. This is exposing, once again, the Democrats are masters of destruction, deception, of lying, stealing, and cheating. We have to become the masters of exposing all of that. And that's happening. And they can't take it. My wife on social media will publish something that verifiably, how can you deny that there wasn't collaboration of the media on many different levels with this whole campaign that suddenly Kamala is running about joy, and I can't remember the other word, uplifting. That she's the candidate that's joyful and uplifting, and Trump, he's just an old cadre, old man who sits around and screams and yells and has a bunch of falsehoods. Oh no, that's Joe Biden. He's still the president. No, but they coordinated. It was coordinated effort, and the people who are lockstep, who are under some form of trance with this party, they're willing to defend. Oh no, that wasn't collaborated. That was a press release from the campaign of Kamala. They were just repeating that. No, statistically, the jig is up. The news is out.
Yep.
we know unequivocally that mainstream media is a branch of the DNC. We just played you some videos. They have a Kamala cake. They're going to promote this. Kamala cake? What happened about the Trump cake? I don't think he really likes cake, but McDonald's is more of his thing. And that's a perfect example. The fact that the man likes McDonald's, they berate him about that because it's not good for him.
Yeah.
How can he possibly eat that kind of food and provide that kind of
Meanwhile,
food?
they're shoving chocolate German cake down everybody's throats for Kamala. That's nice. Yeah.
All right. I'm looking at the clock. We were a little late in getting started. I appreciate all of you that joined today and jumped on board. Folks, it's just not Ryan and I and Kat and Tanya, my beautiful wife, and Bob, Kelsey, and all of you. We have to collaborate together and make sure that we're sharing the messages of truth, because that's where I believe it is. When J.D. Vance makes a statement, as off the cuff as it is, that putting Kamala Harris in charge of inflation reduction is like putting Jeffrey Epstein in charge of children at a daycare center. That's the equivalency.
Yeah.
Because that's the sheer blatant disrespect these people have for humanity. They don't care. Kamala never's cared. And unfortunately, they're not going to hear it. So we have to be the megaphones. We have to be the people who are carrying the message, the town criers. Heary, heary. Hey, as always, we'll be back in just 2 short days. And guess what that means? That's 2 more days of the DNC. We're going to hit upon it. Believe me, bring your comments, bring your attachments. If you have something that you see that we're not hitting upon, please bring it, put it in the comment section. We'd love to expound upon it, talk about it, have a conversation about it. We're willing to answer questions. Obviously, that seems to be a novel thing amongst the DNC.
We might have a special guest on the ground in DNC also. So, Kat, if you want to jump on with us Thursday, we might have a special reporter friend up there in the middle of all the chaos.
I heard, is that rumored? Is Kat going to be at the DNC?
I don't know, but it's William
Cornered
J.
by
Kelly.
Kat? Kat in the corner?
She needs to be.
Conservative Kat goes on the road show. Kat, I would be more than happy to be willing to travel with you. Now, of course, there are strict gun laws in Chicago, so we might have to carry somebody that doesn't have a problem carrying their concealed carry into Chicago, because who knows what you get into there. But hey, we'll be back on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it. Once again, expose, shine your light. That's what we're called to do. Shine your light into this darkness. And it's happening right here, right now, in my home state, the state of Illinois, in the land of make-believe, in Chicago, Illinois, a great city, unfortunately corrupted by evil people. Hey, we will Bob Kelsey's going to be down there, so he'll come and help me too. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Y'all, see, I wasn't even in the South very long. It only took 2 weeks, and I'm saying y'all. Y'all, I love you. I know that Jesus loves you more, and we'll see you back on Thursday here at the DPB show. We love you. Take care.